Aspen Ladd coming in at number 3 in the women's bantamweight division is a -180 favorite against number 10 Macy Chiasson, fighting out of Fortis MMA. Excuse me, man. I need to ask you about the betting line first off the bat, AJ. -180 is Aspen Ladd, who was a real big name a couple years ago, man, but she hasn't fought since 2019. And her last victory was I think a third round TKO victory over Yana Kunitskaya, who just got smashed by Irene Aldana. Yana Kunitskaya is a big name to have on your record, especially in an impressive fashion like that. However, Aspen Ladd had a real serious knee injury, man, and coming off of a knee injury, you haven't fought in 2 years, like we already mentioned earlier. Yeah, your body might even be better than it was before. My question to you, though, Aspen Ladd, sitting at a very young age of 26 years old, do you think that she is experienced enough, or maybe too young enough, to understand her body enough to know how to bounce back from a major injury like that? She's very young in her career. That is a big question mark for me, is does she have what it takes to bounce back with the full confidence after never having a major injury like that before, man? You speak to that. I mean, you went through a similar situation to a degree, man. So how long does it take for the confidence to come back? All that type of stuff. Give me your take on that.
Man, I'm still not confident kicking anything with his right leg, brother. So I can't imagine. I mean, obviously they're professionals; they get it done. So, man, it's weird because I think, speaking to that mindset, she is very young, 26 years old. Your brain is very, very barely starting to develop fully. You're finally getting into your adulthood. I think it all comes down to that mindset of who's her coaches. I don't actually have it. Who she's training out of? Do you have it down in front of you?
She's training at MMA Gold Fight Team. I don't know who the coaches are there, but I know MMA Gold is a legit gym. There's a lot of real contenders that fight there.
Yeah, I don't know the coaches either for that one, but I think that's where it really comes down to, is in the grit that's you're putting in, the blood, sweat, and tears you're putting in on the mats in your training facility. If she's in there whipping it around, doing the stuff, landing on her heel, doing the crazy stuff that kind of gets you a little worried when you have an injury like that, I think she'll be fine. Once you've tested it enough to where you're like, oh, okay, I can do this consistently without any pain at all, yeah, you're fine. But really, it's the mental aspect of, if something happens where oh, usually when I do this, it hurts a little bit, or oh, when I do this, it doesn't feel as good as it normally used to. I think that's where the little bit of insecurity, I guess, can come forth going forward. And that's where you really need a good coach to get your mindset and tell him, no, we just got to work it out. We got to, get through this however we get through it. All the good things a coach should be doing. So speaking to her mindset, that's really a big X factor for me too, because she had a great win against Yana Kunitskaya, although she did get bullied a little bit with how big Yana Kunitskaya was in the first and second round. I do see that coming forward in this fight, because Macy Chiasson just outsizes her by a good, 3 or 4 inches. It's 5'6" to 5'11". We all know I'm not that good at math, especially on the fly like this. So, I think this one's going to be interesting. It's definitely going to be interesting how Aspen Ladd's mental aspect goes, because she's a gangster. She's an absolute gangster in there. She's very gritty, has a stack of killers besides the Iron Lady, Jermaine Durandamy, where I think she just got caught. So, what do you think, Derek?
Well, let me just answer the question about the trainers really quickly, because I looked it up on the fly, man. So Dave Hirschbein, he is the owner, he is the main trainer, but Jim West is the head coach over there at MMA Gold. So that's the name right there, Jim West. So like I said, it's a legit gym, man. It's a very legit gym. But I will say this, man. Aspen Ladd, you're right. She is a killer. She is a gangster. She's a thug, man. For how she looks, she goes into the octagon and she delivers, man. That's what she does. In her last 5, TKO round 3 against Yana Kunitskaya, clearly got caught against Jermaine Durandamy, butchering the name, but she's a savage, legitimately. Unanimous decision win in her second fight against Sajara Eubanks. She won the first one as well. She got a big win against Tanya Evinger, TKO round 1, and then Lena Landsberg. She has a win, TKO round 2, and that's the big one, because both of these fighters have fought Lena Landsberg, and Macy Chiasson actually got a decision loss against Landsberg, so that's a little bit telling. However, it's not the same exact fight as fighting Aspen Ladd. So I will speak to this, man. Yes, Chiasson, 5-inch height advantage, 6-inch reach advantage. I think those are going to come into play because Chiasson uses her length very well. Now, in her last fight, she didn't. In her last fight, she actually said her game plan was to go to a decision. She wanted the experience. She wanted to go all 3 rounds. She didn't want to go in there and just try to piece them up, smash them. She wanted to use her length and figure some things out. And that's kind of what's important, AJ, because sometimes, man, you'll see these fighters say, I just want to go and try something, and you never get to see what it's like or experience it in training. You have to do it in the big show. You have to do it in the actual fight. However, with that being said, man, Chiasson has a little bit of a chip on her shoulder because she has noted that she thinks Aspen Ladd chose her specifically because she thought it would be an easy comeback fight, right? Because Aspen Ladd, arguably, she should be over there not concerned with anybody below her. She should be like, yo, I need to fight for a title. Like, what are we talking about? You know, I'm 4-1 in my last 5. I'm 9-1 overall, 4-1 in the UFC. Like, I need to go and see what's up with Amanda Nunes. Now, listen, I don't even need to say anything about that because I think Nunes, she's the GOAT for a reason, man. She's smashing anybody. Mama Bear, she got the baby now. Mama Bear is even dangerous than the old Amanda Nunes, but that's for another topic for another show, man. Listen, I want to ask you a couple questions, AJ, about this matchup in its entirety, man. Chiasson is big. She uses big knees. It's kind of similar to the Yana Kunitskaya fight, which is a little bit telling to me because in the first round, Yana Kunitskaya controlled Ladd for about 4 minutes until Ladd she did what she does best, man. She wants to pressure you, punch you in the face, get you on the ground, smash your face in, ground and pound for the victory. She has some of the best ground and pound that I have seen in the women's bantamweight division besides like an Amanda Nunes, you know what I'm saying? Now, let me ask you this, AJ. Macy Chiasson has a 64% takedown defense. What are the odds that Aspen Ladd does what she does best and just gets her on the ground and keeps her there for all 3 rounds, man? Like, it doesn't have to be pretty. Aspen Ladd just needs a victory, really, at this point. This is a comeback fight. You need to prove some things to yourself. Do you see that happening?
I do, actually. I do see it happening, especially because of what was going on in the Yana Kunitskaya fight. Aspen Ladd just comes out, and instead of throwing normal, kind of feeling each other out right away, she'll just throw 4 straight jabs to your face while she's walking you down. And if Macy Chiasson isn't ready for that, doesn't throw like a front kick or throw more jabs, because that was the biggest problem I was watching in the Marion Renault fight with Macy Chiasson, Macy Chiasson, excuse me. She has a very strong left hand and can hit you with some power, but she just kind of throws these half feints that doesn't really pop her jab out at all. So if Aspen Ladd is able to come in and just start throwing those crazy, like she does, she's known for her key eyes or her tennis style grunts. If she can do that, put Macy Chiasson on her back and get her to the fence, I see a takedown happening pretty easy. And I do think that's going to be her game plan going forward, because we saw it in the Yana Kunitskaya fight. It actually worked both rounds. The most dangerous part going for Aspen Ladd, though, is she has to finish it in the first or in the second, because they start the fight on each, they start each round on their feet, which is where Macy Chiasson is the most dangerous. If Chiasson can utilize her length, utilize that advantage that she has, and instead of just go backwards like she's used to and actually circle around and get out of the way, I think it's going to be a very interesting fight, especially because Macy Chiasson has these very interesting kicks, and her being taller, she can easily land a head kick while Aspen Ladd is blitzing in, screaming at her. So I don't know, man. This one's going to be a very fun fight. This one's a potential for me for fight of the night, just because it's going to be a crazy fast pace. Who knows what's going to happen? What do you think?
Well, listen, man, I think one of those things in terms of that height difference that we need to talk about is the knees of Macy Chiasson. I think that she could go and time a shot and just knee her into oblivion. However, we can't forget that Aspen Ladd is a former kickboxing champion, I believe, or if she's not a kickboxing champion, she was just a former kickboxer, 8-0, undefeated as a kickboxer, man. Like, she got chops on the feet, legitimately, and both of these fighters have mean left hands. However, I do think Aspen Ladd's left hand is a lot meaner than Macy Chiasson's, man. But it's the length thing, right? If Macy Chiasson really has a chip on her shoulder, she said she's like, I live off of this shit, man. I live off of opponents thinking they can come in and just smash me like I'm some easy task or whatever. We saw, man, Macy Chiasson, tall, lanky, all that good stuff. We love to see it. And plus 155 is understandable because Macy Chiasson is also very new to the top 10. You know what I mean? She hasn't been here for a while. She has to prove herself. Aspen Ladd is already proven, which is why I think the line is as heavy as it is on Aspen Ladd, even though she's been out for 2 years, which is, to me, that's the thing that's always crazy. I said the same thing with Miesha Tate. I'm like, dude, you're out for 6 years. It does not make sense. I'm going logic on this one, and I think that Macy Chiasson might have she might be a live dog in this one. The last thing that I have to know before we give our picks on this one, AJ, Macy Chiasson is a Tough 28 women's featherweight winner. That means that she is a natural featherweight. She's a natural 145-pounder fighting at 135 pounds. The size might be a little bit of an issue against Aspen Ladd. However, she handled Yana Kunitskaya. So, I mean, Yana Kunitskaya is literally the same boat. She's a natural 145er, fights down at 135. Give me your pick and why on this one. Actually, wait, before we do that, let me just, lastly, let me talk about some notable wins, man, because this is something that I think might factor in your decision, even if it's just last minute. Even if you already got your decision, it might factor in last minute. For Aspen Ladd, notable wins for her: Yana Kunitskaya, TKO round 3, Lena Landsberg, TKO round 2, Sajara Eubanks, ×2. She beat her twice, decision both times. For Chiasson, she's defeated Marion Renault, unanimous decision. We've seen not quite as impressive as maybe it was at one point in her career. Pani Kianzad, she submitted her second round, man. That's a big win, personally, to me. I think that was a huge win. And Gina Mazzani, TKO round 1, man, fighting out of Glory MMA. Now, that was a little while ago back in her career, but those are big names on both sides, man. Both of these people are proven. So now, with that being said, give me your pick and why, AJ.
This one, that Gina Mazzani fight, actually, that was one of the ones I watched where I was like, well, Macy Chiasson, if she can get going and actually cracks Aspen Ladd, this might be, she has some serious KO power. The thing is, Macy Chiasson really likes to walk her opponents down, control the pressure, and hunt for that KO. I don't know if she's going to be able to bully Aspen Ladd like that. I think Aspen Ladd, like I said, is going to come out hot, just throw in strikes right away, get Chiasson on her back foot, and kind of really look for a takedown, go old school, ground and pound. I got Aspen Ladd, TKO victory, ground and pound, round 1. Who you going with, Derek, and why?
Well, that is a very decisive choice for you, my friend. I have to just give one last piece of context before I give my pick. I'm going Macy Chiasson on this one. I'm going with the more active fighter, the person who has really been building themselves up. She's on a little bit of a streak right now, right? Looking like she is on a, actually, let me go back right here. She is on a, 2-fight win streak, right? Small, right? But 4-1 in the last 5. She's really doing it. Both of these fighters are 4-1 in the last 5. This is the thing that's really doing it for me. This is going to be Aspen Ladd's first fight with no fans. That's a little bit of a psychological edge, man. She's probably going to try to be, it's kind of like what I say about all these fighters, right? When it's like you have something to prove, you're going to be a little overzealous. You're probably going to be a little more aggressive than you need to be, a little less calculated. While Macy Chiasson is saying, this is my moment, man. If I can snatch number 3, come on, man. You right in the mix for a title shot next. Now, does Macy Chiasson need to be fighting the Amanda Nunez's of the world? No, she still needs to build herself up. To me personally, she literally only has 8 career fights. Like, both of these fighters have so small amount of fights. Combined between them both, we have 8 plus 10, 18 fights between them both, man. Not a lot, but that's women's MMA for you. I'm going Macy Chiasson, and I'm going a decision victory, man. I think that she's going to be able to stay away from having her back on the ground and being able to use her length and her reach to her advantage, man. It's simple. When you got the reach advantage, use it, man. Use that thing. So Macy Chiasson, to me, gets the underdog victory, man. It will be a good one now.